Hey there YouTube! So it's the beginning of the new year, so that means it is time for a new planner. I really like planners. I've been using like a planner for my everyday life maybe for about the past 2 or 3 years. Like in the way that the internet likes planners. I've always kind of used like agendas and calendar notebooks throughout high school, through college, and then my post-college life also. But like the past 2 years I've been like really into planners, like all the washi tape and all that stuff like that. So in previous years I've used Passion Planner, and then last year I used the Happy Planner, and this year changing it up. Last year I used the Happy Planner, which is a really good planner system. I just got tired of it. The things I do like about Happy Planner is that it lets you remove pages. All the pages come out really well, and they've got these rings and you can kind of put whatever you want in here. And also it comes with like pre-made calendar pages like this. So you don't have to spend your time working on a design or building the calendar yourself. It's already in there, and if you have a dated planner, that's even better because it's already got all the dates in there for you. But I found myself not wanting to use this around about October. It was just like really heavy and a lot to take around, so I kind of started experimenting with bullet journaling. I've tried bullet journaling in the past and it didn't work out for me. It was really overwhelming and I just didn't know what to do and how to do it, and just couldn't fill up the paper, and it was a whole thing. So I decided I wanted a more structured planner, which I've used for the past 2 years, and I think that was really beneficial because I kind of learned how to plan and what is important to me in a planner and in my like daily to-do list life. I think 2019 I'm ready to tackle the bullet journal again. I've done lots of research through the past few years. Some of the bullet journal stuff I adapted for my other planners, and I'm just ready to go into the bullet journal world this year. So that's what this video is going to be. It's going to be me setting up my bullet journal for the next year. The journal that I'm going to be using is this Lecterm 1917, I think it is. So I'm just gonna go through, show you all of my spreads, all my lists, and how I think I'm gonna start out at least structuring my bullet journal. My hope is that I can keep this up throughout the year and give you guys updates maybe every month, show you how my layout changes and what I'm doing each month with it. So yeah, I think that'll also keep me like accountable for it. I don't think I'm one of those people who's gonna abandon a planner. If I do abandon a planner, it's for another planner. Without a planning system, I am just like a disaster. I don't know what's happening at all. So here is my bullet journal setup. Enjoy! Alright, so this is the journal that I'm using. It's the dotted version of the Lecterm 1917 in the emerald color. Just to go over some supplies that I'll be using. I like to use a lot of washi tape. I like different sizes of it. I've got these midliner highlighters and this plastic thing as a straight edge. And then I have my pens and markers and things like that. I've got them in this Dan and Phil pencil case because I'm Dan and Phil trash. So my favorite pen to use are these like Precision V5 Pilot pens. I've also got Papermate markers, and then I've got these, and they're in a bunch of different colors, and then I've got these like Stadliner fine liners, and then of course a pencil with an eraser. So yeah, let's get started. So first thing, I'm going to take out some pages from my old journal. I'm going to take out these reading lists that I kind of keep as a reminder. I've got the Goodreads 100 fiction list and then the PBS Great American Read. So I'm just going to tear these papers out so I don't have to rewrite them, because there's like at least 100 books on every list, and that's just a lot to rewrite. So I'm just going to add these pages to my journal. I'm going to flip to the front and then get some washi tape and basically tape them in as best as I can. So I just got it on the edges and then just put it in as close as I can to the, like, I guess, seam of the book, whatever that's called.
So yeah, so this way I don't have to rewrite these lists every single time. It takes a few tries to get it in there, but since it's washi tape, it's easy to pull out again. So this is gonna kind of make my journal a little bit bulky, but you know, it's better than rewriting 2 lists of 100 books each. I just put another piece of tape down here just to secure all the pages in, and then trim up the sides a little bit. And then I've got my list. I've got to trim the edges a little bit too, because I didn't get it perfectly perfect. But, you know, it happens. I don't have to write 200 books again. So next, I've got a few blank pages for extra things, and then the big thing is my to be read shelf. This is a popular spread for TBRs, and this is basically just a way for me to keep track of how many of the books that I actually own that I've read. So I just drew these bookshelf pictures, I guess, and then filled them out with different designs of books. And what I'm going to do is write down every single book that I own, and then as I read them, I will color it in. This way I can have a visual representation of how many books that I own that I've actually read. I'm not going to put anything that I've already read before this year on here. This is just kind of like a starting point for where I'm at now, and then anytime I get new books, it'll go on here also. So it's just kind of like an evolving TBR, but hopefully I'm going to read them faster than I buy them. So yeah, I think all of the books that I do own fill up only one side of this, so I have plenty of room to grow. Hopefully I don't want to buy that many books this year. That's a lot of books. But, you know, it's just a good way to keep track and see how much I've read. It's also a good way to really like reference what I've already got, and then I can just go back to this and look up everything. Just like find a book that I want to read. Be like, oh, I haven't read that in a long time. Or I haven't read that. I've had that book for a long time, and so I want to read that. So, yeah. And I definitely decided to put this all in pencil first, just so I knew what I was doing before this, because this actually took a long time to set up, and this video is going to be long enough already, so this just minimizes the amount of pain I have to go through to film this video. So, yeah. Alright, so next I have the series that I need to finish. I have a lot of unfinished series where I've read everything except for like the last book on them. So this is just a way for me to keep track of everything that I haven't read yet. So each of these boxes represents a book in the series, and I'll just fill them in as I read them. Some of these actually a lot of these I've read most of the series before, but you know, I'll fill it in later. But yeah, there's definitely enough room on here where if I start any other series, I can definitely add to this page. So that's really good. I like room to grow. And then this page is a very particular page. So my favorite Japanese idol group is called News, and they've been around for 15 years. So they have lots of CDs and albums and DVDs. So in order to keep my collection organized, I decided to print out the covers of every version of all of their CDs and albums and DVDs and paste them on here so that I have a good visual representation. Like if I'm out at a store or something like that, I can quickly reference what I have in my collection. And I put a pink highlighter around everything that I do own so that I could just fill it in the rest of the time. So yeah, if I go to Book Off in New York, then I can figure out what I've got without having to try to remember which version I have, because I can never remember. And then just up at the top, this shape pattern is a visual representation of their group name, News, News, with their member colors. It's cute. I like it. But yeah, so there's definitely room to grow on this also. So next I have my Clamp series trackers. So Clamp is a manga artist group, the manga artists that I really like, and I'm trying to read all of their works and do like a whole series on them. So this is a good way for me to keep track of the stuff that I own as I'm collecting them, so that if I'm somewhere and I see one, I can see which volumes I have, and so, or I have read, I guess, just to keep track of everything. And this isn't all of their stuff. This is just the kind of like the stuff that I own right now, and then I will add to it as I collect more of their series. But I'm really excited for this project because I really love Clamp, and they've made some of my favorite series. Some of these versions are like the omnibus versions, and some of them are the regular things. Like Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle is the omnibus versions, then Cardcaptor Sakura is the regular manga volumes. So it's just kind of like, how much of it have I read? I don't know if it's going to be how much I read or how much I own. I'm still kind of deciding on really how I'm going to use this tracker. We'll have to see what works the best. And then finally, we've gotten to my 2019 specific things. So this is just my cover page. It's really simple. I'm not a very good artist or like hand letterer, so it's just going to be super simple, just the year, and then I'm going to add some gold details with it, with like a gold Sharpie and some washi tape. I decided that all my lists and like charts will be in the beginning, and then the year will be after that, anything that's like year specific. I really like gold for the new year. I don't know, it seems very fresh and fun and traditional. So yeah, that's my 2019 title page. And then we have the future log. The future log is a pain in the butt to create, but it's probably going to be the most useful thing in the entire bullet journal. So the idea of the future log is to have all of like your whole year planned out, because as you make the bullet journal, it you only make one monthly spread at a time. So this way I have a calendar, so I know what day, what date falls on which day during the month, and then I can keep track of any future appointments or birthdays or events, things like that. It's a great way for me to look ahead, because I always need to look ahead. If I don't have any sort of yearly calendar where I can write down like birthdays or holidays or things like that, I'm going to completely forget. I'll have absolutely no idea. So this takes a very long time to fill out, especially since I decided to hand write all of the dates. That's 365 days that I wrote down. But it takes the longest, but it's definitely the most useful spread in the entire journal. So I've got things like here, like Sailor Moon musical and birthdays, and then when I'm going to set my goals for the next quarter, which we'll get to. So next I have my cleaning list. This is just like a way to keep track of when I've cleaned things, and what I need to do, how often. I do enjoy cleaning, so this is very fun and exciting for me, even though not for everybody. I've got daily things to clean, and then I've got things that I clean weekly, and I've made all these little circles so that I can cross off if I've done it that week. So hopefully filling in the bubbles will make me want to clean even more. Then I've got things that I want to do bi-weekly, and I've got circles to fill out for those. And then I've also got things that I need to do monthly, and circles for those too, so I can fill those out, so I need to keep track of when I've done them. And then I've got things, I live in like a house now, so I have to do things like change my air filters, and clean my gutters, so I got to keep track of when I've done those also. And just some things that I need to clean, like just twice a year, really. Some of these things maybe I need to do a little bit more, but I'm being realistic about the way I'm gonna do do things. And then next we have the bill tracker, which I'm not going to fill out all the specific information in here because I don't want you to see my bills. So this, even though I have a lot of my stuff on auto pay, it's a good reminder of how much I'm paying and how much I'm paying for what. And then I could just cross it off every month as the due date comes, just so I know when things are coming out of my bank account. So this is things like rent and car insurance and any subscriptions that I have, things like that. And like, honestly, I don't fill it out for the whole year because sometimes the rates for things like student loans change in like March, or things will go up or I'll cancel things. So I only fill it out for maybe about half the year and then fill in the rest when I know when the rates change, things like that. But that's really useful. More financial things is my money goals. I have more than just a savings goal, but I'm not going to put it in yet because I don't need you to see that. But at least I like to save at least $1,000 a year. That's just the minimum. So I keep a tracker for that, and I'll add more later once I reach that goal. And then I have my book bought versus read chart. And so this is something I tried to do last year, but I really fell off of it, but I like the idea of it, so I'm going to try again. So this is basically just keeping track every month of how many books I've actually read and then how many I've bought. I'm trying to do this thing where I don't buy any more books until I've read 5 of them. So I don't buy any new books until I've read 5 of my own books. So hopefully this works, and hopefully there's like a section for like the net or just like the difference between it. Like if I've read more books than I bought, it'll be a negative number, and then if I've bought more, then it'll be a positive number, things like that. So this is a good spread idea that I like. So hopefully I can keep up with it. I kind of messed up on this page, like a lot, like this title thing just didn't fit. I didn't judge the distance there, so I might cover that up later. And then I also messed up on the sections of the graph. These like middle divider things should be empty. They shouldn't have the lines going through them. So I just took some washi tape to cover up my mistake, make it a little pretty, That's the thing about bullet journaling. It's not going to be perfect no matter how many perfect people you see on the internet making them. You're going to make mistakes, so you just got to find creative ways to cover them up. And washi tape is a great way to cover up your mistakes because it hides the bad stuff and then it looks pretty. So yeah, washi tape is your best friend. Alright, so next I have my projects and my quarterly goals, which kind of goes hand in hand. I've got some things that I'm covering up there, so just like some personal things. So yeah, projects, just kind of like personal projects, YouTube projects, and then I don't remember what cosplay projects, yes. So these are just keeping an idea of like a visual representation, I guess, of the things that I want to work on. And then hopefully I could take the projects and translate them into goals. So I decided this year that I was going to break my goals up into quarters instead of setting like goals for the whole year. This way I can work on smaller, more attainable things and then hopefully achieve them, because I never achieve my New Year's resolutions. So if I break them down into small chunks, into smaller goals, then I feel like they're a bit more achievable. So for instance, in the first quarter of the year, this is about January to March, I'm going to work on studying more Japanese, and I'm going to try to put out 1 video a week and finally get to 2,000 subs and grow my channel some more. So hopefully that can work out by March. If it doesn't, then I'm just going to add it as a goal for the next quarter. I'm not going to be too hard on myself, but just kind of like so I can focus my I guess, what I'm doing throughout the year. Next, speaking of goals, I have my reading goals. So last year I wanted to read 30 books and I just barely made it. I was about 3 books short. So I think this year I can really do it. I'm really determined this year. I know everybody's always really determined in the beginning of the year, but I think I can really do it. I could have done it last year, but just didn't happen. So I decided to make like a cute star constellation thing to represent like the number of books that I've read. So originally I wanted this to be 30 and I messed up. So there's actually 31 stars. So there's a fun bonus star at the end. So this page here with the star constellation is just purely for keeping track of how many books I've read. And just once I finish a book, I can fill out a star and it'll be lots of fun. And then the next page over is going to be the details on which books that I've read. So I always like to make a list of the books that I've read. And most of the time the list is just like the title and the author. And this year I decided to put a little bit more detail into that. So I've got the title and the author, but then I've also got the type. So that'll be things like audiobook or ebook or hardback, paperback, whatever. And then the genre. And then there's also a section for notes, which I really don't know exactly what I'm going to use it for. Maybe like a rating or something like that. But, just anything like I want to note, like maybe this was really good, so I'll put a note there that I loved it or something like that. So yeah, and then also this is a good way for me to keep track of what I've put into wrap-ups. So I can just make a line after I've made a wrap-up. So next I have my wish list. So I want to be more conscious with what I'm spending my money on and how often I'm spending my money. So a wish list is a good idea to really focus what you really want to get. So it's just like things I've been thinking about for a long time. And this is split up into books and like other things like shoes and stuff like that. So it's a way to focus my spending. Anytime I want to buy something, I just go and reference this wish list so that I can really spend it on stuff that I really want. Next, I have a page for new releases, which definitely should have more books on here. I just need to fill it out more. So this is a way to keep track of books that I really want to read. So it's also another way to focus my spending on, make sure I'm spending on things that I really like. So I've just got the title and the author and then the release date if it's got an actual release date. Like Pumpkinheads by Rainbow Rowell just has the month that it's going to come out. So once it has an actual release date, I'll fill that in. And then next is a spread that I kind of stole this from Katie Tastic with her Korean study. But if you don't know, I studied Japanese for a very long time in college. And since leaving college, I haven't really kept up with it. And I've gotten very bad at Japanese. So I kind of want to study Japanese more and kind of gain some of those skills back. So I have a Japanese study spread. And one of my goals for this quarter is to study Japanese 3 times a week. So Alright, so I have some textbooks that I want to use, so I've kind of written down the chapters for those, or the sections, and then as I complete it, I'm just going to fill out the circle next to it. I've got a textbook for vocabulary and for grammar. I also have a textbook for like reading and reading comprehension, but I don't, it's structured differently than the other 2 textbooks that I have. It's a different type of textbook, so I really haven't come up with a study plan for the reading textbook. I have to kind of go through that and figure that out. Then also to kind of practice translating and maybe learn some different types of vocabulary, I'm going to try to do some song translation, maybe once a month, maybe a little bit more than that. But yeah, I think that's like a fun, easy way, especially since I love J-pop so much. And then also, I used to watch a lot of J-dramas, and I haven't been watching so many lately. So I'm going to watch a bunch of stuff on Netflix and elsewhere, and then just kind of write down what I've watched throughout the year. And then finally, for my last like yearly spread thing, I have my video ideas. So this is just where I'll jot down any ideas I have for videos I want to make. And I've got kind of some sections put out there, and then some bigger space for just a random list. I've got monthly things that I want to make, like maybe a favorites video, or bullet journal, or wrap-ups, and then cosplay related videos that I want to make, and then any tags that I want to do. So this is a way to organize it into categories, but then I also have that larger space for just anything that's sort of like random that I come up with that I can't put into these 3 limiting categories. And then finally, my monthly spread, we've made it here. So this is just my title page for January. I just went with a simple like wreath design because I'm not a very good artist. Maybe doing this bullet journal will help me expand my creativity in drawing or something like that. I don't know. But it's just a really basic design. But I'm not going to be looking at this page a bunch, so it doesn't really need to be super like detailed or whatever. It's just got to be pleasant, and I think this is pleasant enough. Alright, and then next, finally, we have my monthly spread. So I definitely needed a monthly calendar because I would die without a monthly calendar. And so this is a way for me to keep track of my work schedule, for one, and then when I want to put out videos, and then also if I have any events or any sort of notes or any bills due, I can put those here. I've got boxes on the sides for those. Having a monthly view is so crucial for me. I feel like I would be lost without it, especially for my work schedule, just because it changes every 2 weeks. I know the days that I work, but I just forget what day it is all the time. So hopefully this will keep me organized in a great like monthly overview. And then I've also got a section here for my goals, just so every time I look at my monthly spread, I can be reminded of what I want to accomplish this month, and those will relate back to my quarterly goals too. Alright, and then I have my trackers. So I have 2 trackers on this page. I have a habit tracker and I have a pages read tracker. So the habit tracker is pretty basic. It's just like every day, have I done these things? Like water, have I read, have I done something creative, have I studied Japanese? That type of thing. You just fill in a box when you've done it. And then I have my pages read, which I think the increments that I've put it in increments of 50 pages. And I think that's a little too ambitious for the amount that I'm reading right now. So I think in the future I might make that a little smaller. Maybe in increments of 25, because I think it's a bit more really realistic for what I read every single day. And then I've got my page for what I've read this month. So this is basically like my TBR page. So I've got a section for my planned TBR, the books that I want to read that month, any books that I've purchased that month, and then a list of books that I actually read. So I can compare that to my TBR. Then I've got my video plans where I want to make 4 videos a month. So I write down the title of the video that I want to make, and then I've also got like a checklist if I've filmed it, when I've edited it, and when I've posted it, just so I can kind of like feel accomplished throughout the process. And I start out with 4 because that's the goal for the month. And then I've got a page for cosplay plans. I kind of want to work on cosplay a little bit more regularly instead of just like crunching for one thing. So I've got 2 things I want to try to accomplish this month. I don't know how they're going to go though. And then finally, I have my weekly spread. So I start my week on Sunday and end it on Saturday. This is because I work Wednesday through Saturday, so my weekend is Sunday through Tuesday. So this way I have my whole week and my whole weekend and my whole work week on a page. And right now I'm just doing like a horizontal type of layout. It might change in the future, but right now this is what's working for me. I'll probably experiment with something later. Other things that I keep on here is going to be my meal plan, what I want to make for dinner every night, and then there's also a section where I can put like a weekly to-do list. And I've got little boxes for like I can write when I am working, if I'm working that day, like what my shift is, and then just like adding a little bit of fun to it, I guess, and just making my page or my day separators in washi tape. So yeah, that's about it for what's going on with my bullet journal. I'll try to keep you guys updated every month or every 2 months, you know. And yeah, let me know in the comments if you like this video, any questions you have about bullet journaling or journaling in general. I'll try my best to answer them. But yeah, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more bookish and nerdy content from me. Alright, that's all I've got for you guys today. I'm Chrissy Lou. Till next time, matane!